16 and a half years ago, my wife Amber, who's always right, we planted Corner Church and Corner Coffee in downtown Minneapolis. Our mission from day number one, our mission today is to have a corner church and a valued and community business within walking distance of everybody in the urban dense parts of our city. The thing that is the question that we asked 16 plus years ago, the question that we've asked over and over again, the question we've asked as we've planted in 4 additional communities, the question that really brings us here together to this gathering is how are we going to make this sustainable? It's pretty God-honoring to do something, and I'm going to be presumptuous, but I think it's even more God-honoring, more God-honoring if we do it again tomorrow and do it again and again. The challenge of sustainable is it really has pointed out my love for a group of people, the almost church people. I love the disconnected from church. Love Jesus, read the Bible, disconnected. I love the disaffiliated. They just, for some reason, have disconnected from the organized relationship with church. I love even the disgruntled, those that have been hurt or ostracized from the church, because these people are known as the almost connected, the almost serving, and the almost giving. And that speaks back to God honoring. But the thing is again, I want to be presumptuous one more time, is that we, as this room, we are called to plant churches that are not crowded with the almost church people. How are we going to do it? How are we going to make it sustainable in communities that won't burst onto the scene? What if we are called to plant churches in communities where it's crowded with the impoverished? What if we're called to plant churches to be the church in communities that have no church, no religious experience? What if we are called to plant churches to be the church to do ministries in communities that are loaded with followers of religion, but it's not Christianity? And the group that is just exploding in Minneapolis, the group that we've really grown to love and serve, what if a community is crowded with the disinterested? Hey, it's great. You do that thing. Thank you. Thank you. It's not for me. We've been asking a lot of what ifs over the years in order to make this sustainable in the midst of an urban dense, high rent area. How can we do it again and again? What if we had a local independent coffee shop and the church met there on Sundays? Corner Church, local independent, excellent neighborhood coffee shop, Monday through Saturday. And Corner Church meeting on Sundays. There's an economic what if. What if is that the local independent neighborhood for-profit community coffee shop pays 6/7 of our lease, and Corner Church pays 1/7 of our lease. That's great. It's beneficial to the church, beneficial to the coffee shop. But just let me tell you, the what if of cheaper rent, it's not worth it. You see, it takes somebody who's a little off to start a ministry. It takes somebody a little crazy to start a business, but I would say it takes somebody stupid to do them both at the same time. Welcome. And so let me tell you, just a little bit of cheap rent is not enough what if. But what if people could walk to church hundreds of times before they ever came to church? See, our missional what if is that we are in communities that people are not flocking to church. People are not saying, we've been praying for years that a church would be here. We're not in communities where people are longing for a faith community or wondering where they're going to send their kids to Sunday school. Does it have a playground or a playground inside of the playground? So what can we do? How can we be connectors to people that are not looking for church? See, the foundations of evangelism in our communities, and I think it's just exploding across our country, across our world. The foundation of evangelism is not just an invitation, come to our Jesus information session. Because again, the majority of people in our communities would say, thanks, but no thanks. But what if people could walk to church hundreds of times before they ever came to church? See, our foundation of evangelism is redefinition. Through repetition of relationship, a coffee shop has a localized customer base and high frequency of return. We get to see people not just 2 or 3 times a week, but sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. Connect and build relationship. And there is a moment that you can hear the gears breaking of redefinition when somebody goes, "Blah, church. But you guys, I can't believe you own my coffee shop." See, it matters for people like Dick, a Jewish man who knew he would never be welcome in a church, who was a fixture at Corner Church. It matters for somebody like Jenny, whose life was exploded in her 20s as she went through a divorce and has found a place of hope and service. It matters for somebody like Kim, who her first exposures to Christianity, to organized religion, was pretty cultish and manipulative. And now she is trusted and trusts the church at Corner Church. Matters for Kyla, who is so afraid to share what she believes in fear of being kicked out. But she shares who she is at Corner Church. Matters for Chris, who's had struggled with issues of homelessness for over a decade and has found home at Corner Church. Matters for people like Uli and Sarah, who I'm sure in the last hour have been to Corner Coffee, who've walked to Corner Church, Corner Coffee hundreds of times and have yet never come to church. I love them. We get to serve them. Our passion, our mission, our vision is to be a local church in communities that aren't necessarily pleading for a church. We're not necessarily a coffee house church, which I can't imagine us being any more different than a church with 4 churches and 4 coffee shops. But our passion, our mission is connecting people to the reality of relationship with Jesus. Can you imagine if people in your community could walk to church hundreds of times before they ever came? Our team is amazing. Our process is complex. I'd invite you to come to our breakout to learn a little bit more. I'd love to learn a little bit more. Let me pray. Jesus, thank you for trusting us. Help us be trustworthy. Amen. Thank you.